Hi y'all. I am going to be doing a whip and chat today. I also have something that I said I might do, and that was show a couple paintings that I had done years ago when I was doing acrylic painting and I was just learning. I also just wanted to chat about life in general, so if you want to go ahead and diamond paint along with me, now is the time to pull it out and we will get started. So I'm going to move the camera downward, facing my desk as I diamond paint, but I just wanted to do the introduction where you could see me. So let me go ahead and move this down, and maybe I'll move it over to here. How is everyone doing today? We have a pretty sunny day here in Florida. It is warm, and the house is quiet. The kids are in school. I have a granddaughter in daycare, and I have a grandson in first grade. I had to think about that for a minute. It's getting close to the end of the school year, and he's going into second. But anyway, it is quiet. My daughter and son-in-law are at work, so I thought this would be a great time to pull out the camera. I am working on the Chuck Pinson and Island Life, and I'm slowly making some progress. I've done a couple squares down here, and I am starting to work my way up a little bit. I'm going to move this a little bit closer. Maybe my camera should lower a little, just a little bit. And I'm going to turn on my light board. So anyway, what is everybody up to? I have a male dog who is not eating. I hand fed him a little bit this morning, but he's worrying me. I might have to take him to the vet if he goes any longer because he hasn't been eating too well the last couple days, so I don't think he's feeling well. But I'm going to definitely say a prayer for him because I don't need any more vet bills right now. I think I'm going to first show you my acrylic paintings. So granted, these I did either with a tutorial, which I watched a couple different people on the YouTube channels, Jim Lasorda, Angela Anderson, Cinnamon Cooney, who, if any of you did tutorials in acrylic painting, Cinnamon Cooney was a very popular one and a very sweet lady, and she passed away just a few months ago. But I gave a lot of my paintings away to nursing homes and to friends and family, and I don't know who all, mostly to friends. And I have like 3 left, I think, and I might have more. I just don't have them here at the house. But I'm going to start out with this kind of landscaping one. It's an 8 by 10. There's a hair on it. So I did this as a tutorial, and I can't remember who the teacher was, but I like water, as you know. I like beach scenes and landscapes. And this was just a canvas I got from Michael's. You know, it's stapled on the back. But I just followed along, and I really liked it. I liked how the trees had a variation of green. These are supposed to be rocks down here. um, and a little boat. I think I added that just to give it a little bit more oomph. But really simple. I mean, you start with just painting the background and then you start adding things. And the good thing about acrylics is it dries quickly. And if it's not quick enough for you, you can always put your hair dryer up to it and dry it quicker. And then once it's dry, you can paint over the top of your mistakes. So unlike oils or watercolors, acrylic is really a good medium to use if you're just wanting to start out and paint. So that was, I don't have a name for these, but this is, I just call it a water scene. And then I have a flower. I have this hanging in my bathroom for right now. I took it off the wall and I framed it. And I think this was a tutorial I did with Angela Anderson. And I noticed just today that Angela Anderson had or has, I don't know if they're in stock, two artist paintings in Diamond Art Club. One is pumpkins that are stacked up and they're different colors, and another one is like a real detailed landscape. But anyway, this I did on a canvas board, and we just followed step by step, and it was a lot of fun. I really, really liked how it turned out. I did not think that I could do this when I saw her advertising this painting that she would be doing a paint along with. And I think I found this frame at Goodwill or one of the thrift stores. And so that is my little bouquet. I don't know what kind of flowers they're supposed to be, but I was really proud of that one. And then I tried a painting just by looking at a picture online. And some of you will call it stolen art, but I'm not selling this or even giving it away. It was just for my own purpose because I like so much the artists of these paintings. I don't know if you've heard about them or not, but they're the Highwaymen, and they are second and third generation now. But they got their start by like in the 40s or 50s or 60s. I'm not really sure when they started painting and going door to door and selling their paintings. They were based out of Fort Pierce, Florida, and they sold a lot of paintings in the early days, and those paintings are now worth a lot of money. And I met a couple of the second generation or third generation painters of the families and talked to them at one of the arts and crafts shows. It was so interesting. And he was doing a painting while he was there, and I was watching him. So I told him that I had done a painting that I wasn't selling, but I just love their red poinciana trees. And he was impressed that I would, I guess give it a try being a just starting out learning how to paint artist. I had a picture of this on my phone, so I showed it to him. And now I look at this picture that I'm about to show you and I just have to laugh because it's so amateur. But you know what? I I don't care. And so this is a royal poinciana tree um, that I did. And like I said, I just looked at a picture and I basically just went by the picture and painted it on a blank canvas, of course. So you see there is a road traveling up to a house behind the big royal poinciana tree and a palm tree. I like my palm tree. I think that turned out pretty cool. But the poinciana tree is not that great. But I'll give you some close up of it. And I did paint around the sides, to finish it. It again is a canvas, whatever you call it, wraparound canvas that I got from Michael's, I think. I don't know. I might have got it from Hobby Lobby, but anyway, I had this hanging in my other place for a while. So you can see I added a hanger to it. But let's see, I put the date on here, 2019. So that's when I painted this. I'm glad I dated it. And I just didn't want to give this one away or, of course, do anything with it except keep it because I did copy it from another artist. Oh, I like how I did my clouds too. I was just learning how to do clouds and I wanted to make them really fluffy. So those are my 3 paintings that I have here at the house. If I find any more, if you don't get too bored of looking at that kind of stuff, I'll definitely share that with you guys. Let me move this a little closer here, and we'll start to diamond paint. Let's see. I am going to go for this orange right here. I got a new diamond pen, mostly for the attachments that came with it. I wanted a straight edge, so I could line up my diamonds with a pen, because this other thing I have this thing just seemed a little bit, I don't know, flimsy. It's not flimsy, but I wanted something smaller. So I got this pen, and it came with a couple attachments, one being a single placer and the straight edge. And then I think it came with only actually one more piece, and it was a three placer. And it was $7.99, and I kind of like this color marbling design. I don't have anything like that. And it's a medium weight pen, I would say, medium thickness. So I have that. The pen I like to use is this Diamond Art Club pen, and I use this one and this one. And I like their multi-placers at Diamond Art Club because they're a lot thinner, and when I'm placing my diamonds, it just seems to fit in the rows better, and they're just very good quality. I'm pressing down my putty. But I have other Diamond Art Club, or not Diamond Art Club, I have other pens. I was just looking to see if I have them laying around close by. And I've talked about the putty I like to use by Art Dot. This is what it comes in. And it's kind of a mess inside, but it's just a big slab of blue putty, and I really like it. Let's see. So back to my painting, my acrylic painting. I got so into it. I was painting as much as I diamond paint now, I guess, just all my spare time. I was working full time, but I had gotten a couple of my friends interested in acrylic painting. And since they were so happy to learn a little bit about what I had learned, my first experience was joining in on a paint party that my work had held at the office. Very first time I picked up a paintbrush and did any kind of painting at all. And I was hooked at that point. We did a seascape, and I was so proud of that painting. I took it home. I remember showing it to my mom. And I have an artist in the family. My older sister was a fantastic artist, but I just thought, yeah, that's her thing. That's not my thing. And my mom actually was a very good sketcher and could sketch and draw and paint. So it was kind of like in the family, but still I was more into like making jewelry and doing those kind of crafts. But once I started painting, I was really interested in learning more and more about it. And I actually did some paint parties for my friends, and that was a lot of fun. I set up the little tables and paints and easels. I mean, I bought the supplies for everyone. I charged just a little tiny fee for supplies, but they would come over to my house, and I would do a tutorial. I would stand up with a big easel and take them step by step. And it wasn't so much about trying to make a masterpiece as it was just a fun girls' night in. We would have wine, or we would have other beverages, we would have snacks, and we would just get so much enjoyment out of watching each other paint, and the conversations that we would have. There's just nothing like, getting together and doing a craft together. And I've often thought about how to do something like that with diamond painting, but I haven't really put anything together in my head as to how that would look. Because when you're doing an acrylic painting, you usually can finish that in under 2 hours. But when you do diamond painting, unless you do maybe a partial, that would work. And small, you probably could fit it into that time frame. But then again, you could always take home what you don't finish and complete it later. I don't know. I have to give it some thought because I know I could get some girls interested in all sitting together and doing some diamond painting. When you're doing the acrylic painting, there's a lot more mess involved. You have to rinse your brushes out. You have to change, when you change color, you've got to clean your brushes, and you've just got the paint and the palette, and it's so much more supplies than diamond painting. And so it probably would be easier to manage as far as a party goes. I don't know if I would have the interest though. I would have to test the waters on that. The lawn guys are out there, so you might hear some background noise. But hopefully you can hear me. My brother called me today. We talk, every so often, not like every week, but he lives in Ohio, and it's always good to hear from family and catch up, especially when you live in different states. And he caught me up on the grandkids, his grandkids, and family, and their church. He goes to a Byzantine Catholic church, and I'm always interested in hearing about, what he's learning and what they're doing. They're really big in getting together and cooking, and a big thing up there is pierogies. It's not a thing down here at all. But my sister-in-law can cook some good pierogies. I'll tell you what. She can cook. She can cook anything. But yeah, so they do dinners, pierogi dinners and that kind of thing, stuffed cabbage, and it's really good to be involved with, people your age and share common interests and your faith. So yeah, he's Byzantine Catholic. I'm Roman Catholic. That's what I continued to, how I continue to worship. And, the church I go to is a little different than the Eastern Rite church that he belongs to, but lots of similarities. We're all under the same umbrella. There's just differences. Like his priest is married and has children, and our priests don't marry in the Roman Catholic faith. But just little differences. The way that we have a mass, they have a liturgy, and it's just interesting. I really like history, and I like learning about other cultures and other faiths, basically. And a lot of our holy days are the same on the calendar. A lot of the saints that we have feast days for are the same, feast days. They might just fall on a different day. This is the month of Mary, so we celebrate her. We don't worship her. There's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of myths, but we Catholics don't worship Mary at all. We actually venerate her. We love her, and there's no way we could love her more than Jesus did. But we know that Jesus loved his mother, and he tells us to love, and that's what we do. And we say the rosary. That's very powerful, and I love saying the rosary, especially in times of worry. Like if I'm going through, I rarely ever had to do an MRI, but I remember being scared, and I had a plastic rosary in my hand, and I asked if I could take it in with me because praying calms me. And they were like, yeah, as long as there's no metal on it. And all it was string and plastic. So they said, sure. So the whole time I was in that, I think it was a CAT scan. I don't know, MRI or CAT scan. I don't know the difference. But it was the long tube thing they put you in and close it up. And I tell you, the time went by so fast. There was a lot of noises. They wanted to know if I wanted music, but I didn't want any music because I was going to be praying. And I don't think I had to even say 3 decades of the rosary and it was done. But me being a little on the claustrophobic side, that was the part that worried me. I had no worry at all. No worry. I just felt completely calm, and I just felt like God was watching over me. I truly believe in prayer. And if any of you have any prayer requests, like if any of you are not feeling well, or you have family members not feeling well, or maybe somebody's going to be coming up for surgery soon, and you just like some extra thoughts and prayers, always let me know because I will put them on my prayer list. In fact, today I'm wanting to go to the chapel. I don't live far from my church, and I want to go do my holy hour there, which I do an hour of prayer before the Blessed Sacrament. And so if you have any prayer requests, drop them below. I'll be happy to take those with me today. If I don't make it today, I'm definitely going to go tomorrow, but it's pretty early. It's only 10 minutes to 2, and the church is going to close at 6, so I have plenty of time. But yeah, please do let me know if I can pray for anybody. Okay, I think I'm going to jump into my next color, which is kind of a cinnamony shade. Cinnamony color. This is a really colorful painting, and I like doing colorful paintings. And I don't mind confetti, although I just started, what do you call it, multi-placing not too long ago. I actually bought a two-placer, and then I was like, this is kind of stupid because I was two-placing, but I thought, maybe let me try a three-placer. So I ordered a three-placer, or maybe I had one already. And I did three-placing for a while, and I liked it. And then I thought, well, let me try a four-placer. So I did, and I think that's my niche because I then ordered some larger ones, and I use them, but I keep going back to the four-placer. It just feels right, and I feel like when I get larger or when I get bigger, whatever you call it, multi-placers, it's harder for me to line them up, and I have better control, I think, with the four-placer. And now that I'm doing my multi-placing, I still have to in certain spots, but when I don't have to, I really gravitate to multi-placing because single placing can take a long time, which that's part of the fun is the process. It's relaxing and it's enjoying what you're doing. So you don't have to be in a big hurry. But some parts of this canvas, this is an old canvas. Some parts of this canvas isn't sticky. And I haven't tried this yet. I don't even know how to use it, but I've got this dot stick. And apparently, I guess if I just read the instructions, you can add this to your canvas and it will help with the stickiness. Okay, so I'm going to read the instructions on here. It's suitable for wood, glass, metal, fabrics. It says that apply a thick coat with a brush or spatula. Start dotting once adhesive dries clear. Cover with protective film only once adhesive dries clear. And then you can clean up anything that spills with soap and water. Okay, so you spread it on and you let it dry, and then you can start diamond painting. So that's pretty easy. Oh, my back itches. Okay, what color am I doing? I'm doing the dash, the dark cinnamon color here. Okay, and then what else is going on? It's the beginning of the week. It's, oh, happy Cinco de Mayo Day. It's May the 5th. And I was going to go to lunch with my sister, but lately her and I have been waking up with headaches and sinus, and I wasn't feeling too great last night, and I thought that I was going to be feeling really under the weather today. So I wanted to give her plenty of notice that I wanted to take a rain check just in case I didn't feel good today. So anyway, I do feel good, so I would have been all right. But we're going to probably do our Cinco de Mayo another day this week. We'll go to a Mexican restaurant, have our tacos or burrito, maybe drink a margarita, and it'll be fun. So I'm not getting up to Joann's like I wanted to, but there was a code in DP Hobbyist's Facebook page for Dreamer Designs, and it's only good until Tuesday night. If you put in the code at checkout, double 30, DOUBLE 30 in Dreamer Designs, you'll get 30% off. So there's been a couple canvases I've had my eye on, but I just didn't want to spend the money. And so when she had posted that, I went to their website, and one of the paintings is low stock. So I hurried up, put that in my cart, and found another one that I wanted and put that in my cart, and I bought it. I bought the two. I saved $41 with that coupon. So I got free shipping. Both canvases together were just under $100, but they were big canvases, and just two of them that I really, really wanted to add to my little collection here. So I'm really excited about that. So my budget for May is done for diamond paintings. I can't buy any more. That was my budget. But I'm really happy with the deal that I got. And they're local. And they say on Dreamer Designs, like if you put one in your cart that's not local and then you select one that's local, it won't let you put it in your cart. It tells you that it tells something or other to the effect that you can't have a local and a non-local in the same cart, basically. So I thought that was interesting. But both of the ones that were on my wish list, I had a lot of them on my wish list, but I chose, since the one that I really wanted that's low stock is local, I had to choose one that was local, that was in my wish list, that was also local. So if that makes sense. Okay, now we've got some more red, but it's in my Elizabeth Ward container because it's an overflow from my tray system. So I'm going to work on that. It's the symbol percentage sign, and it's kind of a dusty rose coral. I don't know what you would call this. It's a dark melon color. I love these oranges and these reds. And I'm doing the tape thing that I've seen so many diamond painters. I've got some strays here. I put my strays in this felt little container, and then I just put them all in I have a square container that holds all my square leftover drills, and I have a round container, both have lids that hold my round leftover drills. So that's kind of how I do that. But I just dump them in there. I don't sort them. When I kit down, I just take each tray and dump it into the round or the square bin and put the cap on it and store it away. And if I ever run short, I'll just have to dig through them and find a color that matches, I guess. Or I can use them for another project, maybe add the diamonds to something that is kind of crafty. And these diamonds are not perfect in this kit, but I won't say there's a lot of trash, but there's like a little, like they're stuck together, and when they break apart, there's a little tab on the side, which when you place that one, the next one won't fit up real close to it. These are squares, and I usually pick those off, and rather than try to break the tab off, I just throw it in this little box to put in my container. If I were to run short, I always have them, and I can file it down with a nail file, but I don't want to do that because I think I have more than enough to get me through the painting. Okay, just checking something over there. Both my dogs are sound asleep, one under the covers and one on the pillow as usual, and they really like having me here diamond painting. They don't like it when I leave the house. They don't have anxiety about me leaving, but you know, animals like their people around. I finished a series. I'm sort of a reality show junkie. I know that's terrible. And I go through spurts where I don't watch TV probably for 1, 2, 3 months actually. I'll go a long time. And then all of a sudden, while I'm diamond painting or late at night, it's like, let me see what kind of reality shows are on TV. So I watched the whole series, every episode of Married at First Sight. And what that show is, in case you're not familiar with it, which some of you might be, but probably a lot of you aren't, it's an experiment. And they have a psychologist, a matchmaker, a pastor, a like a marriage counselor. I don't know. They have 4 or 5 different people that gather applications from people that want to get married at first sight, and they have a questionnaire. They actually have thousands, I think, of questions that they have to answer to help these experts find the right match. So as crazy as it sounds, I mean, when you meet somebody, especially like if you meet somebody online, you don't know that much about them. You don't know if you're going to be compatible with them by their like description that they put on there, I guess. But of course you don't marry them without learning about them, but they let these experts do that work. They find matches for people. They do some extensive research into the person's background. They even visit their home to see how they live, you know, as far as, are they neat, are they messy, what hobbies do they enjoy, do they have animals, do they, you know, do they cook, just all kinds of things. They look in their closet to see how messy it is. They it's kind of funny. They don't show all of that on TV, but for each person they do a little snippet of, you know, what they find out about the person, so that we know like what their occupation is and what their hobbies are and how long they've been, you know, single, or what their dating life has been like. And then what happens is they call the person when they find a match, if they find a match, and they tell them, you know, we found somebody for you and you're getting married in 2 weeks. So, and you can find this on Hulu. If you have Hulu, you can just search Married at First Sight. They're doing a lot of them in Australia right now, but these are old ones from like 2018. Actually, there's some of them, I think, back from 2008 and 2009. And then some as early as the COVID, when, there's one episode where they're right in the middle of COVID. The lockdowns happened while they were on their adventure of getting to know the person, living with the person, and so forth. So anyway, where I left off, they call the person and they say, "We found a match for you." And the person's all excited. And they say, "You're getting married in 2 weeks," or whatever the time frame. It's usually pretty quick. So then they show the person, whether it's the male or the female, both they show it different times, going out to find their wedding dress or their wedding suit, tux or whatever, with their family. They show them breaking the news to the family. Some of them tell them right away what they're doing. Some of them wait until they're matched, but their family goes with them usually, or their friends, to pick out the dress. And you find out, about how nervous they are as it starts approaching. Um, it's kind of funny. It's kind of interesting. And then they usually have 4 or 5 couples, and they let the couples meet each other so that they don't feel alone in this. So they'll have like the guys meet the guys that are doing the experiment, and then on another segment they show the girls getting together like at a restaurant and talking about their nerves and how excited too they are, and get to know each other, so they all know they're in it together, but nobody knows anything about each other or each other's match. So then it's wedding day. Well, the night before, it shows them getting up in the morning and talking about how they slept and how nervous they are, and their family, helping them get ready for their wedding. And then I think this is one of the interesting parts, is when they see each other for the first time. So usually the guy, of course, is first. He's at the altar, and he has looked over the room and seen her side of the family and her bridesmaids and wedding party and mother. Usually the mother's there and the father. And he's up there all nervous, just waiting to meet his bride for the first time. And so the door opens, they cut to commercials and all that. The door opens, and you see, most of the time, you just see relief over their faces, because usually it's rare, but usually they find each other attractive. There are some where they don't. Usually the woman doesn't find the man attractive, and she has a hard time at first. But there's, twists and turns in the story, and sometimes those are the people, the women, that fall in love first, and really am glad that they are matched with that person, because it's not somebody they would ever walk up to or be interested in if they saw them out and about. But once they got to know them, in during their honeymoon and during the time that they're together, a couple weeks before they actually have to decide if they want to stay married or not. So they get married, they have a reception, they dance, they meet each other's family and friends, and then they go back to a hotel. And a lot of times they just stay up and talk and get to know each other. Um, it's awkward. It's kind of kooky and crazy. It's all rated PG. I mean, there's nothing, you know, they don't show anything that is like R rated. And then they find out, and then, the next morning they get like a basket at the door with like champagne and a card, and it tells them where they're going on their honeymoon. So, oh, I don't know why I poured more in the tray. I don't think I have any more of this symbol. Okay, so see, I'm not paying attention. So then they go on the honeymoon, and sometimes the couples just really don't like each other. It's rare, but there's one couple that really stands in mind, and this is so funny. This is so funny, and I got to go back and look for their names, because I really want to know if they're still married. At the end of 6 or 9 weeks, I forget what it is, they come before the experts, and they let the experts know. They ask one of them first, "Do you want to stay married?" They give their answer. Then they ask the other partner, "Do you want to stay married?" Of course, if one of them doesn't, then they don't. But of course, if both of them do, then they stay married, and then they follow up with them another 6 weeks, or I think it might even be 6 months, to find out how they're doing and if they're still married. But this one couple I have to tell you about. So I don't remember their names, but they're sort of like flower hippie child um, looking people, even though they were born in the 80s. Eccentric in a sense. The fellow, I think, was like a screen producer and was doing like theater and filming and, in theatrics, and very quirky and nerdy looking. And she's a med student, but she is very down to earth, but very eccentric in her dress and in her, like, when you look at her, you just know she's the life of the party. So as she's coming down the aisle, and he's all nervous up there, and he's really cute little guy, he's he's looking at her bridesmaids, and they're all showing up, and they're all dressed so crazy. And you could see the relief on his face. Like, he's so relieved that this is somebody that might be nerdy like him. So then she comes out, and she actually, I think, is a little bit taller than him. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But she's got her hair up, and in the center of her hair, she's got a bird nest. Not a real nest, but one of those fake bird nests with a bird in it. And he sees that, and he is in love. They get up to the altar, and it's funny because they actually had met before. So the experts didn't know. See, they're hoping that the people they match never knew each other. So when he's saying his vows, he said he had to do a little revision because he wrote the vows, of course, in advance and talked about meeting a stranger. But he goes, I need to do some revision here. So he changed the wording so that it was like, I know you. And she just kind of giggles. And then after the wedding, of course, they get married. They're in the lobby, and they're drinking some champagne, and they're talking about where that they had met. So they hadn't just met once, but they'd met twice. But he was with somebody else, but he always thought she was cool, just the short conversation or just by seeing her. So he was pretty, excited about this experiment. But anyway, they should have a reality show. No lie. This couple had me in stitches. I was sad when it was over. They did stay married at the end. They wanted to stay married, although she had to relocate, which meant that either he stayed behind or he went with her, and all his roots were where he was. They were in New Orleans, and she was relocating to Virginia. So all in all, it was a tough decision. But after they and they were during the COVID lockdown, so they spent extra time together too. But anyway, he ended up going with her to Virginia, and he found a job selling solar panels, and that's the last. That is the last I heard of them, and I really want to know if they stayed together and if they did any more TV shows, because they were a hoot. So that's that about my reality shows. I actually haven't watched anything since then, so it's been a good month since I watched any TV. I do a lot of YouTube watching. I watch a lot of creators. So if you're watching my video and you have a channel, I do want to mention that you please put it down below in the comments so that I can check it out, and I'll feature you on one of my videos that I do. I do not have a lot of followers, but still I would be happy to share and try to get more people to come over and see your channel and know that you're out there. I think that it's always good to help each other out. And I mean, we never could have too many videos out there. There's a lot of them, but you know, at different times during the week, sometimes we want to watch certain ones, and sometimes you just want really low key. Maybe there is a creator that just diamond paints to soft music. If I can remember her name, I'll look back in my subscriptions and I'll put it down below, but it's very relaxing. She doesn't talk hardly at all, and she just plays the most calming, relaxing music in the background. And then sometimes you want, you know, a lot of talking, and you want unboxings, or maybe you want completions. I love the year in reviews when people show what they've done for either the month or the year. I love to see the completed ones. It just brings a whole new element to a canvas when you can see it completed. And I love ideas on diamond painting, any kind of tips and tricks. Right now in the Diamond Art Club Facebook page, someone shouted out to whoever put in their dry mounted paintings that they used the wood grain duct tape around, which I think she was thinking about mine. So I posted my paintings that I did that with, and she was very helpful to me because she told me what to search under on Amazon to find the tape in different colors, because now that Temu is a little difficult to buy from, or expensive, really, that there might be other avenues to go to get what you need. So she did a beautiful painting with, it's like a tall painting, and it has books, and they're sparkly, and it's really pretty, and it's got a black background. And she did black wood grain tape around her dry mounted painting, and it looks phenomenal. And a lot of people were commenting on there, and both her and I were answering the questions, because some people wanted to know how wide the tape needed to be, or where you got the tape, and you know, just general questions, because they wanted to do it too. They thought it looked good. So it's, you know, the diamond community helping each other, and there's nothing better than that, honestly. So whenever I find a tip, I'll always be sure to share it. I always go back over and push them down. This is a very tight drill field, and I also use my roller, but I want to get one of the marble ones, small marble rolling pin. Right now I'm using this little wooden one, and I like it because the rubber ones, you know, they're probably better for the diamond painting, but they just don't feel like they push down hard enough. And I don't think I'm going to squish any of these diamonds, like crush them or anything, but I don't hear anything popping. So I'm doing a pretty good job, I think, pushing them down the first time. But it is a tight field, and you know, sometimes when you try to move one a little bit closer, it causes the next one next to it to pop out. That's how tight they are. But I like it. I mean, I like having them close together. This is going to take me a long time to do, and I have the patience, but I'm not going to be starting a new one for a while, I can tell you that. Somebody commented in my one of my unboxings about a nasty bug that fell out of the drill package, and it kind of made me laugh. because she told me where to look on the video, what time to look at. So I went back, of course, and I looked, and it's summer here, basically in Florida, and we have a lot of bugs. They don't ever die because it doesn't get cold enough to kill anything, but that's not an excuse. But what it is, my neighbor grows bananas, and she brought me a big bunch of bananas, more than we could all eat. And so they sat on my counter here, and I didn't really pay attention, but the next thing I knew, I had a bunch of flies. Not the house flies, but like those little fruit flies. And still, every now and then I see one, even though I think I got rid of them all. But anyway, that's what happened. It didn't fall out of the drill package. It just happened to fly over to my desk while I was filming, and then just plopped itself down on my light board. And my light board being white, you could see it, and it just started to crawl like a fly does when it lands. And yeah, I know I grossed her out, but what can I do? I don't, I, she was very friendly about it. And she even said that she loved my paintings, my unboxings. I mean, she's very gracious. She just was a little creeped out. And I was actually kind of surprised that I didn't notice when I was filming it fly. And so I was like, what, a bug? Where? Oh my gosh. Because, oh my gosh, let me tell you, when I was working in the office, we had the bloodmobile coming. And they would always, since my coworker and I took care of them, we set up everything, and we let all the cast members, I worked at Disney, so employees were called cast members. So I let all the employees know that the blood bank was going to be here, what time, blah, 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 where it was going to be parked at. So, we did all that. And then we were there for them if they needed anything. They knew our extension, they could call us. So one morning they showed up, and they gave my coworker a box of Dunkin' Donuts. And as a thank you, so my coworker brought it to the desk, and she said, do you want a donut before I let everybody know there's donuts here? She says, because I don't want any of these, and I want them to go quick. And I said, okay, yeah, let me have a donut. So I'm working on my computer, and I'm eating the donut. I'm not really looking at it. I think I chose a jelly donut. I don't know. And she looks at me. We're kind of facing each other in our cubicles. We have like a short wall, but from the neck up, we could see each other. And I happened to catch her look. And she's grabbing the box of donuts, and she's shoving it under her desk in her trash can. And I'm like, what are you doing? What is wrong? And she's got this look like she's seen a monster in her eyes. And I'm like, what is wrong? Tell me, what is wrong? And she's like, did you eat your donut? And I'm like, yeah. She says, it's okay. Because I'm like, why, what? It's okay. It probably didn't come out of the box. It probably came up off the floor and crawled up the desk. And I'm like, what? She goes, a big palmetto bug. She said, there's a big palmetto bug, and I don't know where it came from, but she said, it ran down the hallway. And I'm like, do you think it came out of the box? I said, tell me the truth. I'd already eaten the donut. I said, tell me the truth. I said, did it come out of the box? She goes, yeah, I saw it come out of the box. And I'm like, oh, dear God. I hurried up and got up because I thought I was going to get sick. I ran to the ladies' room, and I stayed in there for a few minutes, and I drank a bunch of water. I went to the cooler, and I got water, and I drank like 16 ounces of water. And then I came back to my desk, and she was apologizing, and I was like, it isn't your fault. It is not your fault. But that was so gross. For months, I kept pushing it out of my mind. I didn't want to think about it because I know it crawled all over my donut, and that's just so gross. But, they say you eat a pound of dirt before you die, so. Ugh, yuck. And we did throw those donuts away, and thank goodness no one else had to go through the ordeal that I did. And if you ask, did we tell the ladies? No. But we did ask them where they got the donuts in hopes that they wouldn't ask us why, so that we could call the place and let them know, which my coworker did. And that's all. I mean, she just let them know, and then that was the end of that. Ugh. So I don't like bugs, but we live in Florida, and that's something that we have a lot of. Especially with palm trees. You get the palmetto bugs. They look like roaches, but they look bigger, and they live in the palm trees. And they fly. They'll fly on your head. I had one that was in my house, and I didn't know it. This is back when I was in my 20s. And back then, I just left my clothes on the floor. You know, I didn't hang them up, and I decided I'll put on this pair of jeans. And I'm putting my legs through my jeans and pulling them up, and I felt a bulge like down by the knee. And I'm like, what is that bulge? I thought maybe it was a sock, but it was too small to be a sock. I was like, what was in my pant leg? So I moved my pant leg down, and it was a big palmetto bug. I screamed so loud, just knowing it was up against my skin. So now that I've grossed everybody out, if you're still with me, that's just some of my horrifying stories. We'll move on to something a little less disgusting. Another thing I was interested in was knowing how many paintings do you work on usually at the same time? Do you work on more than one? Do you work on a large one and a small one, or does it not matter? Sometimes they're all small, they're all big. Because I'm seriously thinking about trying to change my ways and work on something else. But it definitely wouldn't be a big one. If I were to work on two at one time, I think I would do a small snack size, because I just don't think I could get two big ones to fit anywhere for one thing. Although I could take this and hang it up and put the other one down. But I don't know, I think that would be too overwhelming for me to work on two big ones. So I do have those make markets that I unboxed last week, the sunflower, and I think they were lilacs. I was thinking about kitting up those flowers, one at a time, and seriously considering it, because this one it may start to get a little boring or tedious, since it is going to take me a long time to finish. But then I think if I start another one, it's just going to take me all that much longer. But then I'm like, what does it matter? It's not like I'm giving this to anyone and I have a deadline to meet. So we've been going for, 58 minutes. I can't believe that. Well, I'm going to probably then stop the video. I want to wish all the mothers out there and grandmothers a happy Mother's Day next week. I'm sure I'll talk to you all before then. But if I don't, I wish you a happy Mother's Day next Sunday. And thank you for stopping by, and thank you for visiting with me. And I will be back on another day soon. So I will see you then. Bye.